Good morning, Steve Freed in Chicago with the morning grain comments. We have kind of a mixed trade overnight with soybeans, soybean oil, soybean meal up higher, and corn marginally higher, while wheat is down about 8 cents. Different inputs as far as all the markets are concerned. In the beans, I think that the market's looking for more China business, higher exports, lower carryout, and that eventually the USDA will say that in January. We're also watching pretty closely South American weather. Most weather meteorologists feel that there will be some showers, especially around maybe central and maybe northern Brazil, but southern Brazil may remain dry. In Argentina, let's say half of Argentina might get some showers. Again, we'll have to see how much rain they get. Every 2 weeks, they're going to need rain to sustain whatever crop they have. You have some people talking about Argentina corn now down to 105, beans down to 128, and maybe a couple million tons lower in Argentina, both corn and beans, of the USDA numbers. Same thing in corn. I think U.S. corn is the cheapest corn in the world and also the cheapest feed grain. We'll see if China wants to come in and buy some corn for either usage or their reserve. And we'll see if other countries want to come in and buy U.S. corn. And as far as the wheat is concerned, last week we rallied pretty sharply on word that China could have an export quota. Russia could have an export quota, or they could have an export tax. And they did come out with $30 a ton export tax, but it won't come to effect until February 15th. So the main thing there is that we'll see if Russia tries to push out as much wheat as they can before the tax, and how much domestic demand they're going to try to hold on to for domestic use. And so overnight, I think wheat prices are reacting to the possibility of increased Russian wheat exports before the tax. We're watching any news on the vaccine. Slowly it's being inoculated here in the United States. First responders, healthcare, the retirement homes, all those places probably will be getting it first. And then we'll see how the reaction is by the public. It's said to be about 60% of the people in this country really need to take the vaccine in order to bring this thing behind us. We'll also be watching any stimulus package. We are close to one in Washington, but there are quite a bit of differences between what one side of Congress and the other side of Congress want and will approve. And we'll be watching any news as we get closer to the end of the year and inauguration of the new administration, what kind of policies they're going to have. Finally, we'll be watching the direction of the dollar and also directions of where maybe a lot of pool of investment money has been sitting on the sideline, waiting to see what happens to the election, what happens to the virus and the vaccine, and what happens to raw material demand. Some people think that late in 2021, we might see a demand push for raw materials that we haven't seen since the late 70s, which could push prices higher. So again, we'll see if we can push over $12 in the March beans this week because of South American weather. We'll see if we can test maybe down the road in January the $4.50 on nearby corn. And we'll see if wheat either follows the higher grain prices, if they move higher, or kind of trades on its own depending upon what Russia's doing. As always, these are my thoughts, not those of ADM Investor Services. Have a safe and profitable trading day. And remember, always treat people like you yourself would like to be treated.